Tigris, other than she is a good sister. I'm actually going to tell you 3 things. Number 1, Tigris is super stubborn. This started at the day of her birth, when she wouldn't come out of the womb without a broken collarbone and several nasty hours from my mother. Her stubbornness is still strong today, shown most blatantly last Saturday when my parents told me to drive, but Tig decided she wanted to. So she got in the driver's seat and wouldn't get out until I, in a very upset voice, told her I didn't even want to go after about 10 minutes of bickering. But then she let me drive. Number 2, she really tries to help, but she usually messes it up instead. This was shown most evidently when Tigris and I were little and our father was showing us some power tools. And he showed us a drill and told us, hey, this is what you, you use this to fix things. So when my dad left, Tigris asked me if she could fix my hair. And when my dad came back, I had a lot of tears on my face and a big bald spot on my head. Tigris is also extremely lucky. If you know Tig, you probably know the Tigris complex, and if you don't, well, let me just tell you. And also, these are all like real life examples that happen. I'm just making this up. So, a teacher can see her phone during school hours and do nothing. She doesn't do homework or pay attention in class, but gets straight A's. She can get pulled over by the cops going 15 over and only get a warning. She is basically just never gets in trouble, even though she definitely should. And she's also pretty much good at like any instrument she picks up, which is not fair. So, Tig, I got your number and I got you for the summer. It's a bummer that things go so fast. My sister, Tigris Nevans.
Hello everybody, thank you Callie and Mary for that bomb introduction. Y'all are pretty great. Shout out to the Public Enemies for also being bomb. And I want it to be known that that was the first time Callie has hugged me in probably about 6 months. It's a very rare occurrence. And so I appreciate that. So today I want to tell y'all a story. But before I start this story, y'all should know a little something about strings. I believe that we are all connected by strings. They are the paths with which we express empathy and relate to other people. I am happy that I have my strings. They lift me up when I am feeling down. But the strings are not one-sided. They can tie us down and become responsibilities. In order to gain support from others, we must be supportive as well. It's all about balance. However, it's extremely easy to get out of balance. About a year ago, I was feeling the weight of too many strings. I was so bogged down, and rather than feeling fulfilled with a busy social calendar and lots of friends, I was absolutely exhausted. I wanted freedom. Freedom, in my eyes, was the ability to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, and being able to support myself, by myself. And I realized that all of my strings were getting in the way of that. So in July last summer, I cut all of my strings. I packed a bag, caught a flight to Washington State, and began an adventure, a soul journey. I was going on an outward-bound course, and I would sea kayak in the San Juan Islands for 11 days, and then mountaineer in the Northern Cascade Mountains for another 11 after that, with no phone, no internet, not even any mail, no connection to the world whatsoever. I had no idea who was going to go on this trip with me, and I had never been to the West Coast before. I was really nervous, but I was also very excited. When I arrived in the airport in Seattle, I met the people with whom I was going to spend every waking minute of the next 3 weeks. There were 9 other people in my group, among them a Norwegian, a prom queen, a Californian frat boy, and a human dictionary. We were a pretty crazy bunch of people. Those first 11 days of the trip were difficult. I was so surprised to find out that on the first night, we would all be sleeping under tarps. Not even tents, but tarps. Also, the food was definitely different from my norm. For one, there was an extreme lack of sugar. We ate dried, lightweight food that we could carry, minimal high-protein stuff. We were paddling for miles a day, too, awake from before daylight to after dark. During that time, though, I saw bioluminescent jellyfish and algae for the first time. We saw seals and porpoises and learned how to do tricks in the kayaks. It was amazing, and I loved it. The mountaineering was what tested me. These mountains weren't like the rolling green plateaus here. They were sharp, and they were jagged, and they were sparsely sprinkled with trees. They were steep, and walking up and down them with a 50-pound pack on my back was the most difficult experience I have ever gone through. One day, we made a peak ascent to the top of Courtney Peak, which was 8,392 feet above sea level. It was the most breathtaking sight I have ever witnessed. Everywhere I looked, there was a seemingly endless sea of white-capped mountains stretching into the horizon. It was in moments like these that the hiking and the challenges that it presented made it all worth it. Toward the end of the expedition, we each went on a solo, which is where we had to be alone in the woods for 36 hours. We had very limited food. I had a bag of trail mix and a couple of raisins, and no human contact was allowed. Although you might not expect it, it really wasn't that much of a scary experience. I had learned so much over the course, and I was very confident in my ability to be alone. And solo went really well. When I got off solo, I was so elated to see each of my peers. As we all arrived back to our main campsite, we just kept smiling at each other like idiots. I realized how important these people had become to me, and how reliant I was on them. While I was independent in my own sense and could take care of myself, I still needed and valued the strings that I had formed. I did not feel tied down. Rather, I felt like they were a support and a safety net that wouldn't let me get too high or too low. Yet, I didn't have true freedom. Freedom, as Janis Joplin says, is nothing left to lose. I had something to lose, and that was very good. Freedom is sometimes attractive and desirable, but all in all, it is lonely. What I did have was independence, and I had a family that would support me if I needed it. Over the expedition, I overcame many, many challenges. I had failed my way to independence and confidence. I was doing things I didn't think I could, like scaling peaks and navigating the sea and mountains with only a compass. As Outward Bound founder Kurt Hahn said, "There is more in you than you know." There is a strength inside all of us. Sometimes it just takes a little bit for it to show. When I got home, I embraced my strings and looked at them with an eye for balance, and I felt stronger than I ever had before. About a year ago, when I was struggling to find my balance and my strength, I wrote a song, and it ended up becoming fulfilled through my Outward Bound. Although I wrote it in frustration at the time, it has become my fight song, and I'm going to sing it for y'all now. There once was a place called Nowhere, and a girl with nowhere to be. This girl, she had nothing but responsibilities. She wanted to find somewhere where the streets were made of gold, somewhere that she could